Hey folks, welcome back to another Poem Master video, and let's go over some more concept entry this time around. So yeah, starting up with starting off with Tom. Hopefully that's how we pronounce it with two M's. Entry got Mars and Per Ugly. Oh, also if you guys do want to, throw your own ideas in here, you can join the Discord link in the description box down below. And yeah, you could do these as well. So Mars and Per Ugly. So this is a physical striker, right, with 385 attack, mediocre HP, everything else pretty bad except for speed, which is really, really good. So, in terms of the moveset, all that stuff, got Body Slam, 2 gauge, chance to paralyze, Geek Impact, which is the big one, right? And then you got X Speed to make it even quicker. And then you have the trainer move called I Won't Let You Disturb a Boss, which raises users' attack, accuracy, and crit, lowers the user's defense and special defense. Which, when you look, here's the thing, and here's why I did want to sort of feature this concept. When you look at the trainer move, it looks pretty bad because when there's other trainer moves in the game that just straight up do better that also lower defenses, right? Like Hilbert Mariana's trainer move, or Red's, or Singsu Red's trainer move, right? Also lowers both defenses but give you better buffs. This one buff isn't that great. However, in the passive, it has Defiant, which is, when the stats are lowered, its attack increases. So that's an interesting little twist to it, I thought, right? So even though you are lowering your defenses, it further increases your attack because of Defiant, right? As for some other stuff, you got, okay, the sync move for normal types should be 300 power, just because normal type sync moves, I think they get an extra 50 power bonus, right? Or extra bit of bonus. As for the passive, Brute Force 2 powers up moves that are not super effective. Okay, so it makes, normal type moves a bit more useful. I mean, this is going to hit like a truck, right? With a very, very high BP on Gig Impact, and then also, obviously the very high physical attack stat as well. And then Clear-Headed prevents it from being confused because it's Per Ugly. So, anyways, that was a fun entry, right? Let's look at some other ones. Let's see this one was interesting. This May and Mudkip entry, right? So let's open this up, and let me just open up everything over here. All right, so by I think Rayquaza, right? All right, yep, and so May Mudkip obviously evolves into Swampert, which could then further Mega Evolve. So this is a tech unit. Although the role sort of changes a lot as it goes, right? So 600 HP, bad everything else. I mean, the defenses aren't terrible. And then after you Mega, you get better attack and special attack as well, and defense. So as far as its moves, it has Liquidation, right? Just standard physical water move, right? You got X Speed, and then you got Time for Field Work, which is the trainer move, which is too small to read, so let's enlarge it a bit. Raises user's attack and special attack, sharply raises those stats if a weather is active. Additionally, if used in Sandstorm, changes Muddy Water into Bulldoze. If used in Rain, changes Muddy Water into Surf. Very, very interesting mechanic, right? So you either have a chance of Muddy Water, which has moderate chance of lowering the opponent's accuracy, which happens in no weather, right? And then if it's Bulldoze, and if it's Sandstorm, the Muddy Water turns into a ground type move, which lowers opponent's speed. Again, do keep in mind, tech unit. And if it's in Rain, it turns into Surf, which is an AoE water type move, which is more of an offensive kind of move, right? Which then you could use sort of its more offensive capabilities there as well. So I thought that was a pretty interesting mechanic that they threw in there, right? As for the passives, all that stuff, the sync move gives +1 crit when you use it first time. Pre-Mega got Honor Roll 3, Mind Games 4, Defense Crush 4, so very, very good chance of lowering the opponent's both defenses, right? And then you also have Honor Roll for the extra chance to lower the opponent's accuracy with Muddy Water, right? Which would be cool, or Liquidation for defenses, right? And then I think post-Mega, there's also another different set of passives over here, right? You got Weather Surge 5, so, that's, I would assume that's especially when you're using it with in rain for surf, right? And critical focus raises crit when it lands a crit, which is nice as well, because you do get that +1 crit, 50% chance to crit again, 80% chance to crit again, and then you'll get max crit, right? So anyways, moving on, they also planned out a sync grid, which is pretty cool as well. So we got stuff like critical clarity, refreshing rain, obviously, a lot of weather stuff, right? Surging sand 5 if you want to do damage with bulldoze, which would be pretty interesting, right? Let's see. Water wall is raises users' defense, special defense by 15% for every other water type sync pair. Oh, that's a pretty interesting mechanic. Okay. Kind of like type skills, but for defense, because I don't think no type skills give defense, right? Sand Gale raises your speed by 25% for every other ground type, rock type on the allied side of the field, which is slightly unfortunate since Palossand, the one that uses Sandstorm, is ghost type. However, another instance where tech Kaboot Hops can, swoop in and do some work, right? Critical Clarity raises users' accuracy every time it lands a crit, alright? Downpour makes the weather rainy after using a sync move. Sand Screen, a lot of interesting stuff in here. Raging Rain 5, right? If you want extra damage. So, it could do a lot of really, interesting stuff, like either be a very techish unit, lower the opponent's stats relatively reliably, or you could go do decent damage with a weather setter, right? Hunter's Instinct, right? And even more damage there. So, anyways, which works really well because you do have bulldoze, right? So, anyways, and it's right beside Surging Sand. Next, let's talk about let's talk about this entry. So this is a Rachel and Umbreon entry. I think they did by Lonely Voyager, which they did mention it would be free to play, which would make a lot of sense. I mean, if they are actually going to give us the story sync pairs, right, Lear, Rachel, Sawyer, it would make a lot of sense if they made them free to play. Anyways, acquire both through the story. Stats, good HP, bad everything else except for defenses. Really, really good defenses, which matches, well, I guess the speed isn't terrible, but it does kind of sort of match, Umbreon stats in the main games. Sync move, devoted Night Slash, raises crit of all allied sync pairs. Okay, it's a support, so your sync raises, crit for all allied sync pairs. It's kind of like Eevee's, right, except this one's for, crit, right, which makes a lot of sense because it's Night Slash, right, that big thing about Night Slashes, higher chance to crit. Passive's Crit Strike 4, so you do a decent amount of damage, I guess, even though with the relatively low attack, kind of like a Palkia situation, but worse. Move Gauge Refresh 3, which is nice. Snarl, lower opponent's special attack, all that stuff. Night Slash, Moonlight, which heals, right? During Harsh Sun, heals 60% of total HP. I have no clue why they made it 60% total HP, or, the move, if you guys don't know, I didn't even know about this. Apparently, Moonlight heals more HP if it's in Harsh Sun. Moonlight. I don't know why they did that, but that's how Game Freak planned it. During other weather, it restores 25% of total HP. During no weather, it restores 50%. Trainer move, name makes a lot of sense. Gonna Crush You. 2 uses. Drastically raises speed of all allied sync pairs, raises evasion and crit of all allied sync pairs. Very, very powerful. Trainer move as well, with the sync move plus crit. Relatively interesting, support sync pair, right? Anyways, moving on, let's see if there's anything else that we should maybe talk about that's interesting. Really quickly, I do want to go over these two as well. This these two entries, like Groudon and Groudon with Maxie and Kyogre with Archie, right? So what I do like about these two entries is that I like their passive. They have like really, really interesting passives. Here's the passives, right? This one has Scorching Desert 9. When the weather is sunny, the user's rock and ground type moves are boosted 1.5 times and are guaranteed to burn the target. And then they have another passive called Combustion. When the target is burned, the user's attack trigger burn damage, and have an increased chance of activating their secondary effects, right? Which is really, really interesting. So, for example, Rock Slide, higher chance to flinch the opponent, right? Ancient Power, higher chance to, I guess, Omni Boost, right? Which is pretty cool. And then for Kyogre, they had Bathe when the weather is raining. All moves used on the field of play by either allies or opponents become water type, which does not apply to moves that have their original typing be super effective against target. I think that's pretty interesting as well. It's like not a huge deal, but it's just nice to have like your supports and your tanks do some chip damage in, right? Because like there are supports that could do like good damage, stuff like an Alakazam or whatever, right? Misty, right? They could do like Misty's already water type, but they could always do decent damage. So if you're fighting something that's water weak, you go in, and then not only is your striker doing good damage, and your support's doing extra bit of super effective damage as well. And yeah, so that was pretty cool. And they also have Group Greater Water Guard 5. Opposing water type moves deal 3% reduced damage to all allies and cannot be crit, which again, you do turn the opponent's moves into water types. So it's basically okay. This might be a bit too much. 50% damage reduction might be a bit too much. It might be a bit too overpowered, but it's an interesting concept, right? So, anyways, moving on. Is there anything else? Oh yeah, I think that's all the entries that I did want to talk about. Some honorable mentions, right? We got Flat Pancakes with this very, very, very nice Singsu B and Graplocked art. Is that how you pronounce it? I never knew how to pronounce it. Graplocked? I tried. Really, really nice art, and fits very, very well as well. The belt, the patterns on the belt. It's a really nice fit, right? So you guys do want to check that out as well. I think this is supposed to be foul fighting. That was a missed type over there. Rock Smash, Liquidation, Bulk Up, Octolocked, right? Although generally when you do use, and I'm not sure if this is true or not because I didn't check, but I'm pretty sure like most like status moves that aren't trainer moves or either an X attack, dire hit, or whatever, right? Items. So like self status moves that aren't trainer moves or items. I think they all not only cost MP but also cost move gauges, right? Stuff like Reflect, Light Screen, Sandstorm, Sunny Day. So do keep that in mind, I guess, as well. So yeah, and also this by Azeron. Is that how you pronounce your name? Very, very fun and interesting Singsu gets this art with Bisharp as well. Very fitting there. So you guys want to check this out as well. Stats, everything else. So yeah. Anyways, very, very long Metal Burst. I mean, Metal Burst is it is 2-turn move. A lot of stuff goes on, right? So yeah, anyways, that's me for this one. I guess hope you guys enjoy. Let me know, guys, think in the comments down below. Like and enjoy this video, subscribe to the channel for some more Pokemon Masters content. Thank you guys, everyone who did enter this time around. And again, if you guys do want to have your work featured as well, you could join the Discord and post them in the concept entries channel. And yeah, have fun, and I'll see you guys in the next one.